If we could only understand the simplicity of being yourself. It's not a hard task. It's not a rocket scientist to be an Israelite. They just follow the rules.
Right. But you see, it's
they prefer to follow the rules of every other philosophy.
That just takes you back to the scripture in Samuel.
Oh yes.
When they said, "Give us a king."
Oh yes.
They wanted a king so that they could
be like other nations.
Be like other nations.
It's not like I want a king. Oh, give us a holy king so that he can lead us the way you led us.
Right. Yep.
No, they didn't say that.
Yep.
They said, give us a king like the other nations.
Right.
So we always want to be like somebody else.
So it's physical. It's always physical.
And not again, not going back to what we already had, but let's go and reinvent the wheel. Like, why would you want to reinvent the wheel? I mean, the simplicity.
We got to get raw materials, and Israel has the raw material. That's the only way we can invent the wheel.
Luke 16 from the 19th verse, there was a certain man, a certain rich man, who was clothed in purple and fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day. So you can just know that this is not somebody who was, rich when the check came. He was every day.
Every day.
And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which laid at his gate full of sores. Both are Israelites.
No, you're full of sores.
Yeah. And
that led me to another story. Go ahead.
And desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. And it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. Into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and seeing Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus, that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. But Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy life receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. Now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. And besides all this, between us and you, there is a great gulf fixed, so that they which would pass from hence...
You can't go to hell to heaven.
You cannot, neither can they pass to us that would come from thence. Then said he, I pray thee therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment. Abraham saith unto him, They have Moses
and the
prophets. Let them hear them.
Yep. It couldn't be clear. Did I say hell and heaven?
Oh, you did.
It's funny. It's funny how simple and clear that it is.
It is.
But it's not received. It's not received so simple. I mean, that's clear. They have Moses and the prophets.
Let them hear them. Yeah.
It's all Israel.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to that it is all Israel.
Yeah.
Because both of them were Israelites. And one is asking, send them back to my
prophets and
father's
Moses
house.
were all teachers.
It's all a universal tongue. Hey, Moses and the prophets. Yeah, I know they have Moses and the prophets. I did too.
Yeah.
I didn't listen.
Right.
There's some Christians are calling themselves prophets now. And we got to understand that Paul had laws. And he had a kingdom that he set up while he's passing through. And in those kingdoms, he has deacons and bishops. They're all Christians. Yeah, they got big Christians who call themselves bishops. That means they're clearly not Israel.
Right.
They're clearly not of the Bible. Once you call yourself deacon and bishop, you're nowhere in the Bible. You're not God's people. You're just a good scholar teaching and shouting and screaming and collecting people's money for the Christian industry.
Right. Right. I remember reading one comment, and even though, Elder, in your lesson you had taught, I mean, you went to great lengths to explain who Paul was, who Paul is, what Paul was not, in Paul's own words. But yet comments would still come up as if, well, you know, like you were saying something bad against Paul. But it was not that. You were, it's like as you explained, Paul had his own thing to do. He had his own job to do. And that job he actually got because of what he did against his people. So his job now was was to go amongst the Gentiles. And these are not people that
his punishment.
Yes.
His punishment was
to go. Now you have to go and teach because of what you did to your own people. But how is it that he went from that to now he's elevated above the entire book, above all the prophets, above even
who elevates him? Who elevated him?
Romans 11 tells you, I magnify my office.
Right. That's what he did. And his office was to teach the Gentiles. So of course, the Gentiles not knowing anything, not having any foundation, here comes this Israelite who is coming to teach all these things, and he's saying that he was with Jesus the Christ. But he wasn't with
Apollos, they called him?
They called him, they called him
right?
Apollos, because of the fact that he could speak. He was a great orator.
Right. He must be a god.
Oh, definitely.
Must be.
But that's the ignorance of what people don't understand. So now when you go to read it now and you're thinking that, wow, Paul, good gosh, he wrote all these books. He's got more writings than anybody else.
Than anybody else.
Yeah. But that doesn't make him, he's not Peter. He's not one of the 12. He wasn't any of them.
But he called himself the apostle.
Right.
But he's the apostle of the Gentiles.
And that's what people would never understand. So, and in saying that, I am the apostle of the Gentiles. Like, if you're the apostle of the Gentiles, then obviously your message is not going to be the same as one of the actual apostles who went and taught their own people. And people, they're completely blind to that fact because Paul's doctrine is now elevated to the point where people think that his doctrine is the be-all and end-all of all things, but his doctrine has really a lot of times not much to do with the children of Israel.
He certainly is not elevated by anybody Israel.
No. As a matter of fact, when he went back to Jerusalem, they were going to kill him.
To hide, disguise himself, travel at night.
That show that how Paul was. He was the only Israelite that has an Israelite name that changed a Roman name.
Because his name was Saul. It said Brother Saul.
And how much did you know? When it comes to circumcision, you had to go to Peter. He didn't know what to do.
Right.
Rightfully so. he did the right thing.
Yeah.
Go to Peter. Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Yep. He had to go to the church.
But I appreciate what he did, because in doing so, the Israelite Nation and Elder Shadrock is the only one to explain it. Like, no one has absolutely, since the time that this book was written, could ever explain Paul. And could ever explain what exactly is he saying here. And thank you, Elder.
A's and Paul's.
You see, and that's, and from day one, Elder, from the minute that you taught us, you have been teaching us from Genesis to Revelation, including Paul and everything. I'll always stress this, that some people just picked up this Bible a couple days ago and just started reading about Paul a couple days ago, and now they want to come and question Elder's teaching when he's always explained scripture by scripture, word by word, letter by letter, verse by verse from this book. It's not like he's making things up as he goes along.
Right.
You know, so
it's all there.
It's all here.
A peculiar understanding. And just to make it clear, we read Paul not due to doctrine, but because it's part of our story.
It's part of the story.
It's part of our story.
Yep.
It's there.